FSM. Verilog. So FSM stands for finite state machine. They are of two types, already you know, Moore and machine and Mealy machine. Okay, so today the example that I am going to do, I will do it for Moore machine. What you need to do is for same thing for Mealy machine. Okay, so this is my problem. It's again a sequence detector. So question is, design a sequence detector which will be able to detect 101 as well as 010, two sequence. Okay, so a series of input is 1 bit input is coming. So in that, is there a sequence of 101 or 010? Any of this, if it is present, the machine should give an output 1. Okay, apart from if the last 3 state that has come, if it is corresponding to 101 or 010, we should get an output 1, otherwise it should give 0. Okay, so double sequence we need to detect. Okay, so let us draw the state diagram to we need to know the state diagram in order to even code it using a Verilog. So we will assume that there were lots of states. We don't know a prior how many states are required for this problem. Earlier, for detecting one particular sequence, 3-bit sequence, we have seen that if you are using Moore machine, then we require 4 states. In the class we did a 4-bit sequence and we required 5 states. So but here, though it is a 3-bit sequence, since there are multiple sequences that we need to detect, it's not just one particular sequence. So we do not know how many states we would require. So let us start from a idle state. Idle state means we have not detected anything so far. Let's assume that input is X. Okay, let the input be X. And the idle state which corresponds to no detection. I mean, nothing is even begun to detect, and the idle state be S0. So we will name it as S0, S suffix 0. Okay, so that means the state diagram is going to start from S0, and obviously if let us also assume that the output be Y. Okay, so Y should be equal to 0 because we have not yet detected anything, so it should be 0. We will also introduce another input which is called clear input. Now the clear input, suppose right now it may be in some other state. The moment you give a clear input, it should go to the idle state. It should start from the very beginning. So that is just like in register, we can clear all data that was inside. So we can clear the finite state machine also, can clear all the state, and it will go to a default S0 state. Okay, so that we can begin from the scratch. Okay, so when you are at So the only way to come is to the idle state is through clear, and once you are in the clear the S0 state, idle state, you can have x coming. It could be 0, so x could be 0. So keep in mind the sequence that we need to detect. So I have already told you 0 1 0 or 1 0 1. This is the sequence that we need to detect. So if x equal to 0, that means it is the first bit of the second sequence. Okay. So if x is equal to 0, I can go to S1, another state, but still my output should be 0. Why? Because I have not detected the 3-bit. I have only detected single bit. Then when I am here, so let me first of all immediately draw all the states that are required to detect a 3-bit sequence. So we detected 0, and if the next following bit is 1, then I make progress. I go to some other state. But okay, I should also tell you what happens if when I am at S0, if I am getting a 1, then I make progress with respect to the first sequence. Okay, so it has to be a different state, so I will call it as S2, but my y should be 0 because I have not yet detected the 3-bit. Okay, so now I am at S1, the next bit that is coming, suppose if it is equal to 0, then still I have detected only single bit, so it should be again it should be again S1. Okay, so now if x equal to 1 is coming, then I make progress in the sense it will detect 0 1. Okay, 0 1 means this first 2-bit. So I go to another state. I will name it as S3, but y is still 0. Why it is 0? Because the 3-bit is not yet detected. Okay, so similarly I can talk about here also. I am at S2 because I detected single bit, that is the first bit of the 101, and then if I get again 1, just like getting 0 when I am at S1, similarly if I am at S2 and I am getting x is equal to 1 again, then I go back to S2, that means I remain there. But if I get x equal to 0, so in a way you can say that this is symmetry, a symmetrical state diagram. Sorry, if I get 0, so 1 0 2 bits are detected. Okay, so whatever you see on the top, you just change x to the complement, you get the below state. That's because this both states that we want to detect, 101 and 010, they are like complement. Okay, so there is that sort of symmetry here. Okay, so but still my y is equal to 0. Why is that? Because I have detected only 2 bits. Okay, 1 0, so you can see this 1 and this 0. Okay, so now I am at S3. So when I am at S3, if I have to detect my sequence, I should get x equal to 0. So then you will have x equal to 0, x equal to 1 and x equal to 0. So that is 0 1 0. So here I will require a new state because it is Murray machine. I will call it as S5, but whenever I am in this state, my y should be equal to 1. My y should be equal to 1. Now when I am at S3, that is I have detected 0 1. If I get again 1, what should I do? If I get again 1, so that means 2 1s are coming. As far as 0 1 0 is considered, I have not made any progress, but as far as the other sequence 1 0 1, is concerned, I can take that as the first bit of 101. So 2 1s coming means I have to go to the other side, because it could be considered as the first bit of the 101 sequence. So that is for x is equal to 1. Same thing I can say when I am at S4, I already have 1 0 detected, but again 0 coming means 2 successive 0, which is of no use for 101 sequence, but it is of a little bit use for 0 1 0 sequence. So I go to this S1 when I have x equals 0. So as I told you, there is some sort of symmetry here. Alright, so now I am at S5, I am at S4, and then I can have a 0 or 1. So if I need to detect the sequence 1 0 1, I should get x equal to 1, and then I will go to a new state. I will call this state as S6. Again my y should be equal to 1. Okay, so S5 means I have detected 0 1 0. S6 means I have detected 1 0 1. Now when I am at S6, that means I have detected 1 0 1. After this, if 0 comes, then I can consider the last 3 bit as 0 1 0. So that is like detecting this. So if I have 0, it's like detecting 0 1 0. So you can ignore the this one, x equal to 1. After that we have 0 1 0. So that is like detecting this. Similarly, when I am at S5, if I get x equal to 1, I can ignore the first detection, and the last 3 detection will be 1 0 1. That is like detecting the sequence 1 0 1. So I can come here. Now what else is remaining? When I am at S5, suppose x equal to 0 comes, so that is like 2 zeros, successive zeros, which is of no use for the bottom sequence, but I can consider it as the beginning of the top sequence, that is 0 1 0. So similarly here also, if I am here, I get a 1, then 2 successive 1, I go here. Okay, so I think I completed. So S0, there are 2 branching coming out corresponding to x is equal to 0. Since there are only single input, it will only branch out. So I assume all the other cases clear equal to 1. Okay, so clear equal to 1, only then I should, if I need to be more elaborate, I should put clear equal to 1 everywhere. Okay, so this is assumed. Okay, so that's why I did not write it. Clear equal to 1. If clear is equal to 0, I don't even look at x0. I don't even look at x. It has more precedence. Okay, clear signal is having higher precedence, and it will primarily decide what will happen. If it is let me say clear equal to 1 here, and then I will take clear equal to 0 here. Okay, so for clearing I'll use active high input. Okay, if active high input. So if clear is equal to 0 means clear will not interfere. So you can have active low clear or active high clear, but I am using active high. Okay, so that's why all this state change is happening when clear is equal to 0. So here also it should be 0. So I hope everywhere I have written clear now. Okay, one more. So whenever clear is 0, the state change will happen according to the detection of the input. But if clear equal to 1, I don't even look at x is don't care. So that is the way in which we want the design to work, and output is given inside the bubble, okay, in the state itself, because we are talking about Murray machine. Murray machine output depends only on the present state of uh, the storage element, okay. It doesn't depend upon the current input, okay. So we hope you remember the block diagram that we had earlier. So we had a combinational circuit. So the design will contain a combinational circuit, and to this combinator circuit, in this particular case, our input is X and clear, okay. And then how many states now I got? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. There are 7 states. So I need some flip-flops. How many flip-flops I require? For storage element which can store at least 3 bit. With the 3 bit you can go up to 8 states, but we only require 7 states, but still we need a 3 bit storage, okay. So this is a 3 bit storage, so that means it could be 3 flip-flops, 3 D flip-flops, but right now we are not specifying what flip-flops. It could be JK, D or T. So the inputs, if it is for example D flip-flop, you need to give 3 inputs, right? So you need to generate 3 inputs from X and the previous state. The next state has to be generated, so I have to specify that also. So there will be whatever is the 3 states, I need to read that. Okay, so there is some combinational circuit. I'm not telling what is the circuit inside, but it is basically to generate what should be the input for the flip-flops from the X input and the previous states, and then the output finally depends upon what? The output finally depends upon only the state output, the present state. So there should be another combinational circuit, okay. There should be another combinational circuit which will, in this case the output is Y. So this is basically the structure of the Murray machine. What you need to do is to do the same application in as a Mealy machine. So only difference is that in Mealy machine you don't need this combination circuit, one combination circuit, but the Y will take from there all, okay. You can, so Y you will take from here, so that is Y is taken from this circuit itself. It depends upon X also. Okay, so the clear input not necessarily go into combinational circuit, so I think I need to correct it. The clear input actually goes directly to so this is our clear, because clearing is basically clearing the state of the flip-flops, and the flip-flops also require clock, so that also I should show. So there should be a clock. Okay, so this is the structure, the architecture of the FSM, Murray FSM. Now okay, so once you have the state diagram, we can write the code for the state change, okay. We will not specify, we will only use the procedural syntax to generate the combinational part as well as the storage element part and the output combinational circuit. All of this we will realize in HDL using only the procedural method. Okay, so let's go to that. So I have here the Verilog code. Okay, so just like earlier, you have already familiar with many of these things. Time scale, it is to give the unit. I am giving 1 nanosecond, resolution 100 picosecond. Then this is my module name, FSM1. Okay, it's Moore, and when you design your own, you can give another name like FSM2 or something like that. What are my inputs? My X input, single bit input, clear, clock. These three are my input, and my output is Y. Okay, and I need a register inside, some kind of storage element which will determine the state. Okay, so that is my Q. Okay, Q is my storage element, and I am also defining one more register. Okay, and that is basically just for programming sake. I will separate out the code into 3 groups, as you can see here. The first group is basically this is basically the combinational circuit. Okay, we know that combinational circuit takes input from X and the present state, and it will generate the next state. Okay, so the input to the D flip-flop is a Q next. Okay, whatever is the input into the D flip-flop, that will accordingly the output or the state will change. So what input we need to give so that the next state will go to the required way according to the state diagram we want it to go. Now, so that is the first always block. Okay, I am separating the entire code into 3 group. The next is the state itself. So that's quite easy. It's like writing a code for D flip-flop. If you have a clock edge, then check whether the clear is 1. If clear is 1, you have to reset. Reset means Q should go to 0. So it's a 3-bit. I have already defined Q as 3 bits. So there are 3 flip-flops. All will be set to 0. And then if not, I need to set it to the input. So whatever is my Q next, which is the output of the combinational circuit part. So according to that, I need to change the state. Okay, so there are only 2 ways, 2 things. Either you can load the register just like you did last time in the last experiment. You had operation to load the resistor. So that is basically implementation of a. So only difference is that this is 3-bit. I think earlier you did with 8-bit. Now it is 3-bit because we don't require 8-bit. Okay, and then if there is a clear, then we will overwrite the state to 0, 0, 0. Okay, so this much only our register or 3 D flip-flops. And then we have a combinational circuit for taking the output. So output is 1 only under 2 cases. One is the detection of 101. So I think S6 or S5 if you look back. So S6 is detection of 101 and S5 is detection of 010. Okay, so when any of those state if we reach, then we have to make Y equal to 1. Okay, and all the remaining cases Y should be 0. So this is quite easy to understand. Whenever the state goes to S5 or S6, that means detection of 010 or detection of 101. Okay, so here this is the OR operation, logic OR, Boolean operation, and then this is a 3-bit sequence. I mean, we are checking whether it is equal or not. So when any of these are equal, then only we want. If 3 sequences need to be detected, then we need to again draw a separate state diagram, and here there will be ORing of 3 cases. Okay, so like that. And this is basically a register updation, that also you are familiar. So only part you need to familiarize is the combinational circuit part. So combinational circuit part, if you look at it, is based on a case statement. I think some of you have used a case statement already in writing the previous code. So it has all the changes of states that we are put in the diagram. Okay. So for example, we are at S0. If depending upon the value of x equal to 0 or x equal to 1, we need to go to S1 or S2. Okay. If x equal to 0, then we go to S1. If x equal to 1, we need to go to S2. So you look at here. So we are currently in S0. So we are checking what is Q. So this is like the variable x and q are the variables on which the state updation is going to be determined. Right? How it is going to change. It will depend upon input as well as the present state, as I drawn in the diagram here. Okay. Input is there and also the present state. So this is Q. This is our Q. This is our Q. And Q next is this. I call Q next. So that is this. So how Q next is going to be generated is what we are looking at. It depends upon Q and X. So Q is 3-bit, X is single bit. So when X or Q, present state or the input, when any of this is changing, then we look at what is its value right now. Okay. So what is its value? So I have given the state identification. Okay. There are 7 states, S0 to S6 I have shown in the state diagram, and now we need to assign the states. What is S0? So it could be any of the 8 states which are possible with 3-bit. So we need to assign that very categorically. So for that I use what is called as a parameter. Okay, this is a local parameter which is different from the global parameter. So last time I think I used a global parameter. I think that is here itself in the state test bench. Yeah, so this one. So the advantage of the difference is that the global parameter or simply parameter, you can change whenever you call it in a different module. If you make use of a sub module, then if there is a parameter written in the sub module, you can give a different value to that parameter value and then implement the circuit. But if you write it as a local parameter, you cannot do that. It is only available within that module. Okay, you cannot change it when you call this particular block to make it as a part of a larger architecture. So you cannot change it. So if you don't want the parameter to change, if it is only relevant for that particular module, then you define it as a local parameter. Okay, so they are like constants. Okay, so S0 means I am assigning it to be 0 0 0, S1 is 0 0 1. Okay, just like the binary equivalent, I am just giving S2 means 0 1 0, S3 0 1 1, and similarly I am not using the last case which is 1 1 1, because in my state diagram there are only 7 states, not 8, but I can have 8 different combinations possible with 3-bit, but I am not using all of them, only whatever I required. Okay, so I defined 3. So now I have assigned the values that the flip-flop should, or the register should keep when it is at S0. It is 0 0 0. So that should be the state of the flip-flop. So only then we can implement it. Okay. So now I need to tell how it should change, how the next state should be decided based on the present state as well as the current input. So for that I check what is the current state. Okay, so it will be executed when X is changed or the state of the flip-flop is changed. So immediately it will be executed, and when it look at the state of Q, suppose it is at 0 0 0, then the first line will be executed, nothing else. Okay, so only one of the line will be executed whenever you enter into this always block. That is how the case statement work. Depending upon what is the value of Q, it will choose which line satisfies the matching. So if Q is equal to S0, then it will execute the line corresponding to S0. If Q is equal to S3, then it will execute the line corresponding to S3. Okay, so suppose Q is equal to S0, then we need to change from S0 to either S1 or S2, and I already told you from the state diagram that if X equal to 0, we need to go to S1. So that is what this line is telling. I am checking the value of X here. If X equal to 0, I go to S1, but if X equal to 1, I go to S2. So that is the syntax. Okay, X question mark. If it is 1, then go to the next, go to the first argument. Okay, so next Q next is going to become S2. But if it is not 1, okay, if it is X is 0, then it will take the next argument. Okay, you need to be clear about the order in which it operates. Okay, so we are assigning the value of Q next, and either it could be assigned as S1 or S2, but we will check the value of X first. If X is 0, then S1 will be assigned. If X is 1, S2 will be assigned. Okay, so it is checking whether it is equal to 1, X equal to 1 or not. So it's like a question mark. If the answer is yes, then S2 will be assigned to Q next. If the answer is no, then Q next is assigned with S1. Similarly, we go to the next checking. If Q is equal to S1, same thing we do, check the value of X. If it is S, the answer to the question is S, that means X is equal to 1, then we go to S3. Okay, that is like a detection of 2 bits of say 101 sequence, 010 sequence. So like that you write for every present state. Depending upon the value, how do you go to the next state? Okay, so you are at S2. If X is equal to 0, you go to S4, and if X equal to 1, you stay at S2. If you are at S1, if X is equal to 1, you go to S3. Otherwise, you stay at S2. So stay at S1. Okay, S1 and S3. S1 when your X is equal to 0. Okay, so this is 0. It is, you are not changing. Otherwise, you go to the next state, S3. So similarly, every state depending upon what is. So there are 7 lines. Since one of the remaining case is not our concern, so what I do is next state I can go to any one of this state, but I will choose to the idle state. Okay, so that my y will not be 1. If any other state comes, I will begin from the beginning. Okay, but it will not come. It's a don't care state. Okay, so that's it. This is our module. So I have implemented the combinational circuit, which will generate input for the register or flip-flops, and then the flip-flop output is looked at here in the last part, and depending upon whether we have detected state S5 or S6, we make y to be 1, the output to be 1, otherwise y equal to 0. Alright, so now I need to check this with the help of a test bench. So it's the same procedure. You have written at least 2 programs already. One you have done with the combinational circuit, another with the sequential circuit where you implemented register. So it is almost similar to the last test bench. Little modification based on my inputs are now changing. There is no parallel load operation here, but only a single bit input, serial input is there, and then clock and clear. Okay, so as usual, whenever you have a module whose all the inputs to that module, say FSM1, all the input, that is X, clear and clock, I should declare it as a reg variable in the, whatever is the input, they should be declared as reg variable in the test bench, and whatever is the output of the module, I should declare it as a wire variable, okay, net variable. It's like a wire connected to the output of the module, okay. So we are taking that wire and seeing it in CRO, so that's the kind of picture, whereas the inputs we are taking from the latched output of some other component, like say signal source, okay. So the signal source should be a reg type. Okay, so then we begin. So we instantiated, we created a module and then mapped. I'm using same variables, so I don't, mapping is very easy, you just keep them in the same order. The order that I have defined the module is X, clear, clock and Y, okay, X, clear, clock and Y. So same order I keep here also. Test bench also should be, if it is in the test bench, the instantiated module is kept in the same order, X, clear, clock and Y. And then I generate a sequence, okay. So all the three inputs are there, clock, X, clear, okay, and this is just for counting the number of cycles, so that's not important. So initially I keep clock and X input as 1 and clear is 0, okay, and then I change clock input to 0, okay, and the clock is separately running here using an always block. It will, if you know the initial value, then it will start from there. So initial value I have assigned in the first initial block as 1, clock is 1, then after t by 2, so t I defined as 10 nanosecond, every 10 nanosecond there will be one clock cycle, so one high and low, t by 2 is 5, after every 5 nanosecond clock will be complemented, okay. So you start from 1, it goes to 0 at 5 nanosecond, then 10 nanosecond again back to 1, then at 15 nanosecond go to 0, and this will be free running as long as we do the simulation until we encounter a finish statement or control statement. It will keep on running, okay. So now the inputs, basically X only we need to change, but also to see the clear operation. Whenever clear is 1, so which I do here, the state, whatever is the non-zero state, it should be made to move to 1, made to move to 000 state, okay, S0. So when clear is 1, it supersedes the priority of X, it doesn't look at X, X is like a don't care when clear is 1, and therefore it will go to S0 state. But if clear is 0, the normal operation, so that I am doing here, so I am keeping clear for 30 nanosecond at high state, and then always I am keeping clear equal to 0, okay, and then I keep changing X equal to 0, X equal to 1, so I can only change like that, okay. If I want to only X equal to 0, you keep the time long enough, that much time X will be kept as 0, but if I wanted to make it to 1, then I need to change, okay. So if I want it to remain at 1, then you can make it remain at 1 for as long as the time that I have specified here. But if I need to detect a sequence, say 101, I need to purposefully introduce it here, okay. So that's what I am trying to do. After clear is 0, I introduce S0, it remains for 1 clock cycle. So it's important that it should not remain for more than 1 clock cycle, otherwise I may not detect that sequence, okay, because the checking is done at the positive edge of every clock cycle. So 10 nanosecond 0, again 10 nanosecond 1, then again 10 nanosecond 0, then again 10 nanosecond 1. So I am detecting 2 times, 0 1 0 I am detecting, okay. So this is 0 1 0, these 3 0 1 0, but if I look at this one, this will be 1 0 1, okay. So I should get again 1, so 2 ones I should get, 2 clock period, Y should become 1, and okay. So then there is an integer variable which is basically every clock period, it just go like 1 2 3 etc. So that is just to count the number of like a counter. All right, so now the usual statements. We dump it as a VCD file, value change, whenever the value is changed, that will be written into that file. Value change dump, I think VCD. And then what are the variables I need to dump? All the variables in test bench and the instantiated module inside the test bench. So because I am putting 0 there, if I put 1, only the test bench variable will be there. And then monitor, if I want to see on the CMD screen, okay, what are the variables I need to see? The clock time, then number, then X, then clear, clock, Y. Y is the output, which should become 1 whenever we detect the sequence. So once we write the code, save it in the folder, and then go to that folder. Okay, so I am in that Verilog programs folder in my D drive. So you need to change your present directory to that. Already you know this. And then okay, so this is my compiling of the program. My program is fsm1.v. The same here, as you can see here in the Notepad++, it is written on the tab fsm1.v, and I compile it, and the compiled output I will write it into fsm_0. Okay, so -o is the way in which you can specify what should be the name of the file in which my compiled output should be written. So I enter. Initially when I run, some errors were there which I corrected, and when you write for the first time, there will be error, there may be error, and so you detect the error from the clue that you get here in the CMD prompt. And then what else we need to do? PVP. So this is to run the output. Okay, so we will get all the changes are now detected. There is 18 clock cycles as you can see here. Okay, every clock cycle, number of clocks 18. So that much we have specified in the simulation. And I think I edited the earlier program, so that is why my X the space for printing X is given like 8-bit, so I can remove that. So where is it? So I don't need 8-bit, it's just single bit. Okay, so let's run it again. Okay, and then okay, so now X is changing, like I'm showing only the last part where I'm keeping it as 1 for a long time, and then before that there is 0, then 1, then 0. All the changes of X is reflected here, and clear is remaining at 0 all this period. So I should detect the sequence. Before that, clear was remaining at 1, and the clock is changing, and you can see that Y is coming here. Why? Because already there is a 1 0 1. Okay, this is 1 0 and then 1. The output is printed for whenever the clock is changing. So 2 times in a cycle clock will change. That's why repeated showing 1 for clock 0 and 1 for clock equal to 1. But the count of the clock is not changing, because it will change only after two transitions. So you can see that. So there will be 18 into 2, that is 36 lines, but there are only 18 clock cycles. Okay, so finally what we need to do, we need to see how the output looks like. So this is the statement. I have stored it into a VCD file, .vcd file, fsm_w. So GTK wave fsm_w, I type. So I have the window opened, and then these are the it will show the UUT, that is the unit under test. That's the name I gave for the instantiated FSM1 module. If I give a different name for it, I can do that perfectly well. It will take that name here. But since I have dumped all the variables with the specification 0 there in the dump command, it is showing both instantiated module and the test bench variable. So this is the test bench variable. Okay, and this is what is externally available to us. Q, the state is not externally available to us. Okay, we will only have inputs, clear, clock, and then X, and there is a added variable which we have introduced in the test bench. So whatever is in the test bench variable, that only is available to us. But if you are interested in the Q, the state of the flip-flop, input and output, the next state and the present state, then you have to see that. Okay, so first let us take clock. So that's a clock, and then clear, then our X, then our Q, and finally Y. So I am adjusting to fit the entire waveform that I have generated into the entire space available. So you just use this icon, and then you can see that the first line, the clock is going free running, and there should be 18 cycles displayed here, and you can count them, 1 and 0, each is for a duration of 5 nanoseconds. So the clock period is 10 nanoseconds. So there are 10 cycle and you reach 100 nanosecond, and then another 8 cycle after that. Okay, and clear, I have made it to 1 for some period here. Okay, so before the clear appeared, when clear was 0, the counter was actually or the state machine was actually at work. Okay, it has gone from state 0 to state 1, then to state 3. Okay, so it was on the way to detect sequence, a particular sequence. Okay, 3 means because it's 0 1 0 sequence. Okay, so this is 0 and this is 1. Okay, so 0 1, and one more 0 comes, means sequence would have detected, but before that what happened is the clear came. Okay, so clear became 1. You can see the value printed here. Okay, so when the clear became 1, so it takes the complete precedence, and it will not take into account of X value, whether it is 1 or 0. Even if it is changing, it will make no difference. The output will have to go to 0 0 0. So that you can see here, as long as the clear, but the change will happen only during the active edge of the clock. That is because we have a synchronous register. Okay, so if you have a synchronous register, you will only look for the pause edge of the clock, not the pause edge of the clear input. Okay, so the register could be with the synchronous reset or asynchronous reset. So if it is asynchronous reset, then what happens is that you need to write the program in such a way that you need to also look for the pause edge of the clear input. Okay, so here only pause edge of the clock input is looked for, and therefore this is synchronous reset. Okay, so DEET flip-flop also, or register also, they are of two types, either with the synchronous reset or asynchronous reset. So if you browse for programs, you will get any one of this. Okay, so but if it is particularly asked in your question that you should make use of a synchronous, a flip-flop or a storage element with a synchronous reset, you should only have pause edge of the clock or neg edge of the clock if it is active low triggered. Okay, and then inside you check whether your clear is 1 or 0, depending upon active high reset or active low reset. Right now we are taking active high reset. So if clear is 1, then we set Q equal to 0 when that clock edge, during the clock edge. So that's why even though our clear input is 1, it waits for the clock edge to come. Okay, here. Okay, so only then it is resetting, otherwise it should have reset here. If it was asynchronous reset, it would have been reset here, but it is not resetting, the output is 0 1 1. But when you come here, it is resetting to 0 0 0. Okay, another thing, compared to the last program which I showed you, there I have put an initial block to set the state of the flip-flop inside the module itself, which I have not done this time. Okay, here in that program earlier I used an initial block to okay, so this one. Okay, so that was to make the initial state of the internal state of the module to 0, but I have not done that here. That is something you can use not for synthesis but for simulation. Okay, but I have not done that. That is why it is remaining in unknown state. Okay, so this red shows unknown state it is, and then when it goes to a particular state, then only it begins to show the state. Okay, so if you don't want this red here, you can do that by assigning inside the module definition. Okay, so then we have to look for the x change. So here my x is 1, then for one cycle x becomes 0, and then x become 1. So here I should be detecting the sequence, right? I should be detecting the sequence in this clock edge 101 or 010. So that is why my output, so last line is output. Okay, so that is going to 1, and so I have detected, I have gone to state 110. 110 means 6, S6. So S6 or S5, these are the two states where I say that I have detected the sequence. Okay, either 101. I think S6 is what? S6 is 101. Let's look at the state diagram. S6 is, yeah, so 101. S2, S4, S6. Okay, so 101. So that is detected, and you can see that. So this is 101. Okay, but the changes will be reflected only in the active edge. Okay, not immediately when the x is changed. You have to wait, because synchronous circuit it is. Finite state machine is a synchronous circuit. Okay. Okay, so we have detected S6. It has gone to S6, and therefore y is made to 1. And in the next bit, the input is going to 0. So you can now say we have detected 010. Okay, 010. So that is why we have gone to S5 state, and again y should be 1 for that also. Okay, and so y will continue to remain in 1. Again x is going to 1, and therefore it is again 101. So you see that it is S6. So 101 means S6, 010 means S5. Okay, and then not a particular combination we are obtaining, so it goes to 0. So this is basically the design of a finite state machine. It's very important, because this is one of the major building block even in RTL design. We have started discussion on the RTL design, and RTL design has a FSM inside it. Apart from various other components, there is an FSM inside built in. So without knowing FSM, you cannot do RTL design. Okay, all right. So FSM in the RTL design, we will see that it generates control signals. So it's a control unit. Okay, so whenever you look at a microprocessor, it has various other registers and memory and data path, like bus, right, order unit, ALU, etc. So this is one group of things. Okay, we call it as data path, and the remaining part is the control unit. So processor can be divided into two sub parts. One is the control unit, and the other is the data path. Okay, so data path is basically registers, combinational circuit, and like multiplexers and data bus, address bus, all of this. Okay, and control unit basically generates signals which will decide how the register, ALU, multiplexer, those things will work. Okay, which one will be activated, which will be deactivated in particular clock cycle, etc. Okay, so we will get into that next class, but my point is that FSM is important for you even to understand the next step. FSM is important, and with FSM itself we can do a lot of things like sequence detector, counters. Okay, so you can you should know how to design a counter. It is all similar. You start with a state diagram. Depending upon the number of number of mode for the counter, you need to, so I will just show you a counter, but you don't need to do it, but practice it for your exam. Okay, so counter design, synchronous counter design, I have covered that in your digital electronics class. if required you go there. Synchronous counter design. So suppose you need a 3-bit counter which can count something like from 1 you go to 3, then you go to say 5, and then you go to 7. You can have an input also. Okay, so depending upon the input you go from one state to output. Counter necessarily don't have any output, the state itself is its output. Okay, so it's a Moore machine itself, but the output is same as the. So you go like this when say m equal to say 0. M is another input. You can call it x also. Okay, so to look like, so when x is equal to 0, you do the up count, and then when x is equal to from here it goes here, when x is equal to 0, and then when x is equal to 1 you go from here. So it's much similar than sequence detector in a way, because you can immediately draw the state diagram without much thought. X is equal to 1 you down count, and if x is equal to 1, from 1 you go to 7. Okay, so you have the state diagram. Okay, and you draw the state table. I mean, if you want to theoretically do it, that's how you proceed. You see, so 4 states are only here. Okay, it is only going through the odd number. There are only 4 states, so you can have 2 bits also possible. Okay, so but if you want these counts there 1, 3, 5, then either you can design it with 3 bits, and then you can directly take the state output, or another way you can do is you design it with the 2 flip-flops and then use some combinational circuit to generate 1, 3, 5, 7 from those 2 states. Okay, so like this, if the state QA, QB, if it is 0, 0, so that is our S0, then S1. I'll call 1 as S0, S0, S1, S2, S3. So I require only 2 bits storage device. Sorry. So I can do this way. S2 I will do as 1, 0, and then S3 I will do it as 1, 1. So my output should be 3-bit, say ABC. So I want 1 to be displayed, so I should write 0, 0, 1, and then 3, 0, 1, 1, then 5, 1, 0, 1, and then 7, 1, 1, 0. Okay. So initially you just design the state machine, and then you can immediately generate A. A is basically what when this or this comes. Okay, so or another words you can say A is, if you look at, you can use K-map also, but directly also you can write, because there are only 2 variables. So A is what? A is basically QA. Then what about B? B is QB, right? When QB is 1, B is 1. And then C is always 1. C is always 1. So that's it. So you don't necessarily require even any additional gate. You can just take QA, QB and put a 1 there, C. So that will be the output. So all you need to do is this state diagram. So I have already showed you how to design a state diagram. So so this is a counter, synchronous counter, and now if you want other count to be included, then state diagram will change accordingly, but it is nothing different from this procedure that we have already seen. Okay, it's identical. So don't think that you have not done counters, but in the exam then counter came, and you should not say that this is not given as an experiment. Okay, if you know FSM, counter is an FSM. Okay, so all you need to know is how to draw the state diagram, and then according to the prescription given, how the count changes, accordingly you need to design your hardware. Okay, so that is all for today. So the question for tomorrow, or for your third experiment, as I mentioned, I'll write it here. The question is design a sequence detector as a Mealy machine. Okay, Mealy machine which can detect the sequences 101 and 010. Okay, so it's the same sequence. So but the state diagram is to be drawn in a different way, right? It's not the same way, so you cannot use the same state diagram what I had drawn. It was for Murray machine, but for Mealy machine, state diagram you have to do it first. Okay, that is your assignment, and then after that you have to write the Verilog code which you will simulate and verify that you can give the same test bench sequence and see whether you are getting the detection of 101 and 010. Okay.